Oh, my goodness gracious, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into the program. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show. We have a lot of fun here. I am still sweating. I woke up sweating still after watching double overtime 76ers be able to handle the business there against the San Antonio Spurs. There were so many different times in that game where I just said, oh, they lost. They lose this game. They're going to lose this game. They lose the game. Simple as that. They lose. They're going to lose the game. They did not lose the game. They needed double overtime to beat the Spurs, but they did not lose that game. And Tyrese Maxey, you guys know me, I stay away from comparisons. I don't like comparisons because no one ever hears like, they hear is, you know what I mean? But oh my God, Tyrese Maxey reminded me of Allen Iverson last night. He looked exact. People have compared him to Allen Iverson in the past. And I'm like, you watch it, buddy. You can't, he is not Allen Iverson. And watching him last night, especially not just in 52 points, okay, in 53 minutes, not just that, not just shooting over 40 shots, okay, but the amount of times that he went hard to the basket, got fouled, got the call or didn't get the call, whatever, but went down hard to the floor, that was Allen Iverson last night. And I haven't watched a player look that much like another player, and I don't know how long. That was absolutely incredible what you saw from Tyrese Maxey in last night's game. We're gonna get all into it as far as that game goes because it was pretty bonkers. We're gonna get into the Phillies as well, who could not complete the sweep because of course they couldn't against the Washington Nationals. That game yesterday afternoon, it was like if one of the regulars, yesterday was a great day for reserves. All right, for utility guys, if you will. Ricky Council IV, not bad last night. And Mundo Sosa, best Phillies player yesterday, drove in their only 2 runs, had a home run, played a decent second base bag, got the start for Bryson Stott, gave him a day off. He played great. Just would have gotten something. Whit Merrifield got a hit for you yesterday. If the regular guys would have done something, you win that game against the Washington Nationals. And the Phillies did something yesterday that reminded me, a couple of things that reminded me of the Phillies from a year ago. Here's the 2 things that reminded me of. The number 1 thing, playing down to your opponent. We got into that conversation a lot last year, playing down to your opponent. The Phillies have played down to their opponent. And we've talked about it a lot when it comes to the first 2 months of the season. They played down to their opponent. The Phillies certainly did that yesterday. They played down to their opponent. The second thing, base running blunders. I figured they were close to the top of Major League Baseball with base running blunders. I figured they were close to the top. I didn't figure they were at the top. And Todd Zalecki yesterday, during the game, I think it was after Kyle Schwarber got doubled off first base. I think it was after that, Todd Zalecki tweeted out that the Phillies lead baseball in base running mistakes, getting thrown out of the base paths, which does not include getting picked off or getting caught stealing. Who knew? So the boneheaded play of Johan Rojas last week, where he got picked off, where he came in as a pinch runner for Kyle Schwarber, does not count to that statistic. So imagine if that statistic counted, how bad the Phillies would look. I wanted them to complete the sweep. You wanted them to complete the sweep. They did not complete the sweep. And Christopher Sanchez didn't even have his best stuff yesterday, and he goes out after 4 1/3. Rob Thompson pulls the plug there. And then you look around the rest of the team. It's like, okay, you guys going to pick up your pitcher? And they're like, no, we're good. I think this is how we're going to do it. We'll get into the mistakes, the many mistakes in that game. But, and let's revel in this for just a second. The Dallas Cowboys have trouble in Micahville. 105.3, the Fan in Dallas, is reporting one of their on-air personalities. All honestly, I never heard of, but he said he's talked to 4 people, 4 different sources with the Dallas Cowboys that say that Micah Parsons is wearing thin in Dallas. Don't know exactly what that means other than I guess he wants to win and the Dallas Cowboys don't know how to do it. Pretty amazing. So we'll get into that conversation as well. But let's start it off with your 76ers, who did pull off the 133-126 win over the San Antonio Spurs. The Sixers last night I almost said it right there. with Tyrese Maxey dropping 50 points for the third time this season. Maxey reached 50 or more points for the third time this season, joining Joel Embiid, Allen Iverson, and Wilt Chamberlain as the only players in franchise history to accomplish that feat. That's a pretty special night. That's a pretty special night for him. Before the game, Joel Embiid tells him, "Hey man, I ain't going tonight. It's up to you to take the reins." Second game of the back-to-back, second leg of the back-to-back, if you will. He says, "I got to take the night off. Maxey, you go. You do your thing tonight. You got to lead into the victory. You already knew that the Pacers had beaten the Heat, so you got to win to at least keep pace with the Pacers and put the Heat all the way in your rearview mirror by, I believe, a half game right now in the Eastern Conference standings. So go out and do your thing." Sixers came out, and they were doing their thing. They opened up a 14-point lead. Things were looking good. Midway through that second quarter, everything went to hell. The Spurs went on a 25-5 run, something in that range. Pretty pitiful. Overall, here's really all you need to know. If you just look at the box score after the game and you see the quarter breakdown, scoring breakdown for each quarter, the 76ers got outscored 40-23 in the second quarter. And it really wasn't even that close, okay? Because if Buddy Hield doesn't make a three at the buzzer just before the half, then you literally get doubled up by the San Antonio Spurs. So you come out in the third quarter, you don't get much going for you there. Tyrese Maxey just doesn't want to come out of the game at all, and Nick Nurse talked about it after. But one of the incredible things was that in that third quarter, there were two Sixers that scored, Paul Reed and Tyrese Maxey. In that third quarter, low-scoring quarter, Sixers scored 19 points to the Spurs 16. Tyrese Maxey, let me say this. At the 9:37 mark in the third quarter, Paul Reed hit a three. At 9:37, Paul Reed hit a three. After that, the only Sixer to score a point in that quarter was Tyrese Maxey. Paul Reed's three at 9:37 to the end of the quarter. There were 12 more points scored, and they were all Tyrese Maxey. That kind of tells you who was keeping you in the game, right? Then you go into that fourth quarter, and the Sixers just all of a sudden woke up. They came roaring back into that game. And Nico Batum, a guy you haven't seen knock down a basket the entire game, rises up for a three and knocks it down to get the Sixers their first lead of the game. I think that made it 99 to 98, something crazy, something bonkers like that. Kelly Oubre helped get things started off in that first quarter. Ricky Council, the fourth, is all of a sudden in the basketball game. You see him come up with a big layup. You see Kelly Oubre come up with a driving layup as well with about 5:16 left in the game. Sixers were down 4 points at that point. Maxey comes in. He hits a layup. He gets the N1. He goes to the line. He makes it a 1-point game. And then Ricky Council again comes up, gets a foul, and converts. And then Nico Batum comes up to hit a shot to make it 98-97 in favor of the Sixers. That was their first lead since I think it was the second quarter. Absolutely insane. Batum comes up and knocks down that shot. And you're just getting started, folks. You're just getting started. After that, Kelly Oubre came up in overtime. Wait a minute, how did I just... Oh, because I was watching the game. I wasn't taking notes. I just had to watch at this point. But the play that Nick Nurse drew up at the end of regulation, it was like... it was something out of football. It was a motion offense is what it was. It's like you called motion before the snap. In this case, before the inbound from Nico Batum. And Tyrese Maxey's in the backcourt. And he gets a full running start, head of steam, going up court, gets the pass from Nico Batum, goes right to the lane, hits the 2-point shot, hits the layup for two, ties it, go to overtime. No one is stopping Tyrese Maxey with a full head of steam at full speed. No one is stopping him. No one is fast enough in the NBA to keep up with Tyrese Maxey. That was a brilliant play coming out of that inbounds pass by Nick Nurse. He just wound up Tyrese Maxey. Said, "You go, fella. Just go. Do your thing. Just go, gadget legs and Tyrese Maxey just booked it up court, got the pass, layup, you're going to overtime. It was brilliant. It honestly reminded me of something out of, remember, Philadelphia Soul, apparently they're coming back, right? It reminded me of something out of a Philadelphia Soul game where the wide receiver is just allowed to run around and then just run up to the line of scrimmage and go right at the snap. Like I don't know if you've ever seen it. Anyway, that's what it reminded me of last night. That very specific thing is what it reminded me. Maybe because I read the story on the Soul. I don't know. But if you had Soul on today's bingo card, congratulations. But Tyrese Maxey gets the 2 in the layup. It was fantastic. So then you go into the first overtime period. That's where, again, Kelly Oubre helps get you started, gets you a 113, 111 lead. KJ Martin comes up big. Batum hits another 3. Ricky Council ends up having that great assist for a 121 game to KJ Martin. That was great. All of a sudden, Ricky Council turned into John Stockton out there. Ricky Council got fouled, went to the line, knocked down a couple of free throws. Nick Nurse goes deep off the bench for this game. In the second game of the back-to-back, double overtime game. You need some reserves to play. And KJ Martin, Ricky Council the fourth came up huge in this game. And then KJ Martin also helped seal the deal in that second overtime period by getting the steal, tossing to Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre then throws it up to him for an alley-oop jam. And it was a great exclamation point in this game. I did not think in that second quarter, and especially where the Sixers played in the third quarter, it just looked like they were out of mojo. No juice. The only guy, I honestly felt like it was Tyrese Maxey and then 4 other guys. Maxey was clearly the only one that was really producing. Kelly Oubre ended up with 26, I believe it was last night. But everybody else just looked like they were struggling going into that third quarter. And then coming out of the third quarter, going into the fourth, you started to see a little bit more life. And the Spurs started missing shots, finally. In that third quarter, at one point, there were 5 of 8 from beyond the arc. Sixers had made, I think, one 3 at that point. And that's when the Spurs were really starting to lose. Or that's when the Spurs in the second quarter were really starting to take control of the game. In the fourth quarter, you saw the Sixers start to steady the ship. And one thing I didn't even notice until after the game, I figured it had to be bad. I didn't think it was this bad. But yeah, Kelly Oubre had 26 points. But the turnover battle, the Sixers won the turnover battle by a huge majority. The hugest of majorities I've seen in quite some time. 25 turnovers by the San Antonio Spurs, just 12 by your Sixers. They mentioned throughout the game a number of times how great a fast break team the Spurs were. They beat the Sixers in that category by 1 point, 21-20. Sixers kept up with them there, and Tyrese Maxey is the main reason for it. We've talked a lot. And look, beating the San Antonio Spurs, whether it be a back-to-back situation, beating the San Antonio Spurs, whether it be with a shorthanded roster without Joel Embiid, they're a 19-win team. They're a 19-win team, the San Antonio Spurs. It shouldn't be a brag today to beat that team. But given the circumstances, given that the Pacers had held on just enough to beat the Miami Heat earlier in the night, being that you were struggling to do anything right in the final 5 minutes of that second quarter, and then couldn't get much going in the third either, being all that went into it, yeah, this is one hell of a win. One hell of a win by your 76ers. Also, I don't know what the refs were doing towards the end of this game, but there were 2 overturn calls in the last 2 minutes where the refs made a call. Spurs challenged. Pop challenged. Refs went to the mic and went, oh, yeah, we didn't know what we were doing there. Sorry. And then 2 minutes later, oh, yeah, we didn't know what we were doing on that one either. I'm sorry. It's like, what is it you say you do here, Mr. Official? But the thing that I just will not get over until the Sixers step back on the court tomorrow night against the Pistons is how hard they fought in this game and how Tyrese Maxey was every bit of Allen Iverson in that game. And I know Tyrese Maxey is his own player, but for a guy that grew up in the Iverson era, and that was my guy, man, Allen Iverson was my guy. That was such a mirror image of what I grew up watching. the way he hit the floor, the amount of times he hit the floor, the way he just kept coming. The way he just kept coming every single time. And he never slowed down. Didn't lose a step throughout the game. After the game, as one would assume, Nick Nurse talked about Tyrese Maxey's performance.
The biggest thing is he did not want to come out. I tried to sub him out a couple times in a rotation, and he just kept saying, Coach, I'm good. He really wanted to give us a shot to try and win it, right? And obviously 53 minutes is a lot, but he was determined to try to help us get a win tonight. I thought he was, I don't know, that's as fast as I've seen him in a while. He really was turning on the jets a lot, I thought, and making things happen.
19 of 41, bonkers. Only 2 of 10 from beyond the arc. Come on, Tyrese. Maybe that's why you drove so much. You're just terrible from three-point line. No, all right. Anyway, 12 for 12 from the foul line. That's a Joel Embiid-esque number. 52 points in 54 minutes played. 7 assists in the game. Pulled down 5 rebounds. Here's something that's incredible. I know I'm the guy that doesn't really harp on turnovers too much as far as individual turnovers, right? And then the last 2 nights I talked about Joel Embiid's turnovers, 8 total in 23 minutes. Not great. And then also Tyrese Maxey, I'm going to say it right now. This is insane. 54 minutes of basketball. I don't know what his usage rate was last night. 1 turnover. 54 minutes. 1 turnover. What? How was that even possible? Well, he did it. I can't talk about Tyrese Maxey enough as far as the player and the guy that we have watched him turn into. An all-star. He's an all-star. Okay. But the leadership of Tyrese Maxey, we have seen on display in the time that Joel Embiid was out, the 2 months that he was dealing with his meniscus. And then we've seen him coach up veterans. We've seen him try to inspire Tobias Harris. Last night, that was the definition of follow my lead. I don't know what he was saying on the bench. I know when they talked to him after the game on NBC Sports Philadelphia, you had your struggles. Miss Kate, as Tyrese Maxey likes to say to Kate Scott. Hey, Miss Kate, when she asked him about you're playing in this game and you knew you didn't have Joel Embiid, what was the message, especially when there were some struggles there in the middle portion of the game? He said, I just kept being aggressive. I kept trying to be extremely aggressive. And he knew that it was winning time. That's what he said after the game. It was winning time. And I'm like, how do you not love this guy? First off, 50-plus points, kind of easy to love. A win, definitely easy to love. But this guy attacking the rim as much as he did, this guy wanted to lead his team as much as he did, this guy knowing you're not going to have the reigning MVP in Joel Embiid, and he just says, yeah, let's just keep going. Full steam ahead the whole way. How do you not love that? Also, you got to – I love the fact that Nick Nurse did shout out his end of the bench guys, because looking at guys like Ricky Council, the 4th, he had 22 minutes last night, 11 points. KJ Martin came up 8 points in 23 minutes. And how about this? Ricky Council, the 4th, also had 4 steals in the game. These are guys that aren't getting regular minutes. KJ Martin's starting to get regular minutes. Love the fact that he got the exclamation point dunk on that alley-oop from Kelly Oubre after he had the steal. Mo Bamba came in last night, gave you 15 minutes, only got you 3 points, but 7 boards in those 15 minutes. All this is great to see this from the reserves. And Nick Nurse made sure he shouted them out post-games.
Yeah, pretty good, too. And I think, again, we had a couple of nice wild card guys, right? Ricky Council, I can't remember last time he's played meaningful minutes for us. Was really a huge factor in the game. Jeff Doughton came in, played good, who doesn't play for us very, very much either. So to do that, I think, and I thought Paul Reed had a good game, but there was some guys, our normal rotation guys, that were kind of feeling the back-to-back, I thought, tonight, and we had to throw some extra guys in there, and they ended up playing a lot of minutes, so it was good.
Next man up. Now, I got to get into this because this is bonkers, okay? The 76ers last night, going into it, you knew you weren't going to have Joel Embiid. Earlier in the day, I just asked the question because it came up immediately after the game 2 days ago, after the Grizzlies game. Joel Embiid only played 23 minutes. He was taken out at the nerd alert. I'm going to my notes. He was taken out at the 7:08 mark of the third quarter against the Grizzlies. Doing all these post-game shows for Locked On, I have to take these notes, okay? By the way, subscribe to the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Make sure you do that. Catch me after the big games, ladies and gentlemen. Sixers and Phillies. He comes out. The Sixers took him out 7:08 of the third quarter. So the question gets asked after he doesn't come back into the game, only plays 23 minutes, do you play Joel Embiid on the second leg of a back-to-back? All these games are must-wins. All these games for the Sixers are must-wins from this point on. Must-wins. Do you get a half of Joel Embiid? Do you dress him and maybe only play him in the second half if he's needed? I would have loved to have Joel Embiid in that third quarter when things were just going straight, or the end of the second quarter when things were going straight to hell. Would have loved to have him there. Considering the last time he played the Spurs, he had 70 points. Yeah, so I would have liked to have Joel Embiid in this game. I asked the question late yesterday morning when it was still questionable as to whether or not Joel Embiid was going to play in the game. Do you want Joel Embiid to play in the game? 53%. 1,300 votes. Okay, 1,300 votes. 53% wanted Joel Embiid to play in that game. I said if it was up to you, if you were making the call, would you have Joel Embiid play in the game? 53% said they would have Joel Embiid play in the game. That's not a huge margin there. It's not a blowout. Okay, so it was pretty split, the Philadelphia fan base, on whether or not you would have played Joel Embiid yesterday. I would sure as hell would have played him. I thought that's why you didn't play him at all in the fourth quarter, and I thought the whole point of this was to play him into shape. Sixers opted against it. You also didn't have Kyle Lowry last night. So Cam Payne was in your starting lineup, and he wasn't particularly hot in last night's game. But yeah, Joel Embiid with the night off. You had Kyle Lowry with the night off. I would have played Joel Embiid last night. I at least would have had him in case of emergency, break glass. You know, in case of emergency, like avoiding double overtime for the rest of these guys. Now here's how it shapes out for the 76ers. They're a game behind the Pacers. They're a game behind the Pacers for the 6th playoff seed. Sixers are a half game in front of the Miami Heat. So as far as I'm concerned, Sixers keep winning. You don't have to worry about the Miami Heat. They're in your rearview mirror. But here's who the Pacers got to round out the season. The Pacers will take on the Memphis Grizzlies. Excuse me, what the heck? How'd that happen? That's the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't care about the Cleveland Cavaliers. Some things would really have to go right for the Sixers to catch the Cavaliers, who are a game ahead of the Pacers, so then 2 games ahead of the Sixers. So they have to lose out, Sixers have to win out, and the Pacers essentially have to lose out, and Sixers have to win out. Anyway, Sixers need to win out. But the Pacers and who they have left on their schedule, like the Sixers, they just have one playoff team remaining on their schedule. They have the Raptors coming up tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, on the road. Then they go on the road to Cleveland, take on the Cavaliers in Cleveland at 7:30. And then they finish their season against the Atlanta Hawks at 1 o'clock. So Raptors, at Cavs, host the Hawks. So 2 games on the road. The Sixers' remaining schedule for this season, the 3 games they have remaining, are all at home. They have the Pistons tomorrow night. They're terrible at basketball. The Magic, playoff team, they have them at 7 o'clock on the 12th. That's Thursday night. And then the Nets, 1 o'clock on Sunday, I think that is. Sunday, yeah. Against the Nets to round out the season, 2 games at home. Throw all 3 games at home. Go handle your business, Sixers. Go handle your business. The Pacers, by the way, in that Heat game, good God, the Pacers were up something like 22 points and then ended up winning by 2. Jimmy Butler led the Heat with 27 points because, of course, he did. But their largest lead for the Pacers in that game, they came out hot and then got into the second quarter and were hotter. And then, they built a 22-point lead before the Heat came storming back in the game. Woof. Each team only 7 turnovers. 14 total turnovers in the game. Okay, I'm going to get my nose out of a box score. Bottom line is, Sixers raring to go for a playoff appearance. That is far better than the play-in tournament. So let's keep that going. That'd be fun. Philadelphia Phillies. What the hell was that yesterday? 135, beautiful day. You might even argue it was hitting weather. Maybe early goings of hitting season. When Bryce Harper hits 3 home runs in the rain, hitting season kind of goes out the window for a second. But anyway, here's my big issue. You're going to have days where your starter, like Christopher Sanchez, doesn't have his best stuff. And although, was it Menendez, but I think it was behind the plate. Although his strike zone was insanely erratic, both pitchers struggle with the strike zone. I think the bench coach for the Nationals even got thrown out of yesterday's game trying to arguing balls and strikes. It wasn't trying. He was doing it. It was an insanely awful strike zone. Inconsistent. But either way, Christopher Sanchez just did not look like he had his best stuff. Change up, he was not locating. Curve, he wasn't locating. It didn't have his best stuff. It's the best way to say it. In that situation, you want the guys to pick him up. You want the bats to pick him up. That didn't happen in yesterday's game. Nick Castellanos took the offer. Trey Turner took the offer. JT Realmuto will give you a little bit of a pass because he had such a great game the night before. But not yesterday. Not great yesterday. If Alec Boehm struggled as well, he even had an error he wasn't given an error. Ended up really coming back to bite you. But the thing that really got to me yesterday, you're also going to have days where your bats aren't great. But the mistakes in the field, whether it was on the bases or in the field on defense, are just inexcusable. You look at the first inning, Bryce Harper can't get a ball out of his mitt on a great pickoff attempt there by Christopher Sanchez. Can't get the ball out of his mitt to fire to second to get Young, who's stealing the bag. Third inning, Kyle Schwarber gets thrown out at first after misjudging a line drive to center field by Bryce Harper. So Kyle Schwarber gets doubled off of first base in that scenario. You can't let that happen in the third inning of the game. Go to the bottom of the third inning. I don't know what was going on with Bryce Harper and Trey Turner, but there was 2 situations where Christopher Sanchez had a guy picked off of first base, and they can't make the throw or they can't make the tag at second. In this instance, in the third inning, it was Lane Thomas. Lane Thomas is on first base. He's trying to steal second. Christopher Sanchez is a good pickoff move. Lane Thomas breaks it for second base. Bryce Harper makes a great throw, and I don't know if Trey Turner, we didn't have a good angle on it. I don't know if Trey Turner overran the second base bag, but he looked like he was lunging over to try to make the tag and didn't make the tag. Lane Thomas ends up coming around, or that was later in the game, ended up coming around the score, but it was another base running blunder there by the Phillies. Fifth inning, you have Kyle Schwarber get caught stealing. Why? In the situation itself, you have 2 outs, you have Trey Turner at the plate. Is it the worst thing in the world if Trey Turner is at least going to lead off the next inning for you? No, obviously not. But why make the out? Why make the out at all? Why is Kyle Schwarber not exactly fleet of foot getting thrown out? And here's the other thing. It was a horrible throw. And he got his foot tagged as he's sliding headfirst into second base. Not in the cards for the Phillies yesterday. He gets thrown out in the 5th inning. And then in the bottom of the 5th inning, Boehm pulls Harper off the bag. This is the play that should have been an error. I don't think they changed it after the game. They should have if they didn't. But Boehm, they give Lane Thomas credit for an infield single. Boehm pulls him off the bag with the throw. How it's not an error, I don't know. They end up taking Christopher Sanchez out. But Boehm pulls Harper off the bag. Thomas safe at first. Thomas then steals second base, and the only error that the Phillies officially get charged for is JT Realmuto's throw from home to second trying to get Lane Thomas. The ball has one hop past Turner, goes into the outfield. Thomas takes third base and, of course, ends up scoring. Everything that could have gone wrong for the Phillies yesterday in a very close ball game ended up going wrong. And when Christopher Sanchez doesn't have his best stuff, gets charged for 3 earned runs, so I guess they never changed what should have been an error to yeah, they never changed it. They should, but they didn't. Christopher Sanchez allows 3 runs, all of them earned, 4 1/3, 6 hits, 1 strikeout, issues 3 walks, with, again, what was a crazy strike zone yesterday. Turner took 0 for 4, Realmuto 0 for 3, Boehm 0 for 3, Castellanos 0 for 3. Christian Pache had an opportunity to make a spectacular catch in center field yesterday, just bounced out of his mitt. It's a rough one for him. Made 2 good reads on line drives hit the center field in the game, but that one that he had a beat on it, it just didn't stay in his mitt, didn't squeeze it, unfortunately. But just all the struggles in yesterday's game were painful, to say the least. This was a series Phillies, they won, they were supposed to win. Sweeping a series is always difficult, but this is a game where they absolutely played down to their opponent. And I'll tell you the exact instance that made me think, oh, this is the Nationals. They'll find a way. You know, good teams find ways to win. We've said that enough over the last calendar year. Bad teams find ways to lose. And no doubt, Alfonso Marquez was the home plate umpire. Good teams will find ways to win. Bad teams will find ways to lose. And I really thought that this Nationals team was going to find a way to lose the game in that second inning. You had Merrifield get you, he got on base. He was brought in by Sosa. And that was the first run of the ball game. Go to the bottom of the second inning. Meneses leads off with a single to center. Adams gets up there in the fielder's choice, the 5-4 fielder's choice. So Meneses is out. Vargas gets the double. Adams goes to third. That's the one that Pache just missed there in the second inning that just bounced out of his mitt. And then Lincecum steps up to the plate, hits a sharp ground ball to Alec Boehm at third. Again, it's a 1-0 ball game at this point. The Nationals send Adams, who, like Kyle Schwarber, even less fleet of foot. He breaks for home, going on contact. The play happened in slow-mo. I couldn't believe they were sending him. But they sent him, and he gets thrown out at home. So the Phillies maintain their 1-0 lead. Of course, it ends up not being a factor, as Garcia stepped up and got an RBI single to left field, so it's a tie ball game after that. And then Christopher Sanchez was able to get out of the bases loaded jam by getting Winker to ground out to second base. Just stuff like that made me think, okay, well, it's still the Nationals. So if the Phillies don't have their best stuff today, if Christopher Sanchez doesn't have his best stuff today, it's still the Nationals. You'll at least be in this game in the 8th and 9th inning. And they were 1-run ball game. But the big hit from a regular player today or yesterday just wasn't there. Eddie Sosa. Edmundo Sosa comes up there. 2 hits in the ball game. One of them a home run. Gave you a 2-2 tie at one point. And Harper, no big hit. Turner almost had a big hit there. Trey Turner could have tripled in the 9th inning with the ball, with the ball he put to the wall, where Winker came up with a great catch. Just wasn't in the cards for the Phils yesterday, unfortunately. Now they go to the St. Louis Cardinals for a 3-game series starting today at 6:40. They'll look to keep the good times going there for your Philadelphia Phillies. Yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to get into from yesterday's game. If you haven't seen this story yet, to get to football, Micah Parsons has apparently started wearing thin in Dallas. So the report comes from 105.3 The Fan. That's the same radio station that Jerry Jones calls in weekly during the football season. So the report is that Micah Parsons has, quote, worn thin with the Dallas Cowboys. First off, would I take Micah Parsons here in Philadelphia? Absolutely. All right. Immediately. Not happening, but I'd take him immediately. The other thing is my thought on this whole situation is that when you're, and look, Micah Parsons is an elite player. He may not be very elite when he plays the Eagles, but he's an elite player. It goes without saying. Let's just acknowledge that. I know he wears the wrong uniform, but nobody should be denying how great Micah Parsons is. I would assume that he really wants to win football games. And as we know from watching the Dallas Cowboys, they don't know how to win football games when it matters most. Okay? And Micah Parsons wearing thin, that's exactly where my mind goes. You don't see specifics reported in the story, but here's what was reported by Shan Sharif of 105.3. This is a quote. I've heard from way too many people this offseason. I'm talking about at least 4 different people who have told me that Micah is worn thin with the Cowboys. I don't know how much is true, how much it actually hurts his reputation. I don't know whether this is the behavior of a typical superstar. I don't know how damaging it is, but all I know is this. I've heard from way too many people that if Micah Parsons was out of there, there'd be a decent amount of people inside the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco in smiling or breathing a sigh of relief. What? Well, because he wants to win? Like, here's the thing. Like, it doesn't say, is he a prima donna? It says he doesn't know. Like, if you're, like, not for nothing, I believe the report, but if people are telling you, if 4 different people are telling you this guy's a problem, how is he a problem? Is he a prima donna? Does he only want, yellow Skittles? Like, what is the problem? Does he demand winning? Because if he demands winning, then the Dallas Cowboys are not the franchise for you. I would love to know why he is worn thin. Does he think he knows better than everybody? That's possible. He probably does know better than everybody else there. Is he critical of the quarterback? There's more on it from 105.3. Come on. Oh no, that's old. Never mind. I thought I saw something new. I didn't. Oh, it was the Holly report that Jesse Holly saying that Micah Parsons is the most selfish player on the Cowboys because he doesn't want to play linebacker. He only wants to be great for Micah. Okay. Me first mentality. According to Jesse Holly. Anyway, I would take Micah Parsons here in a heartbeat. Before we get to, can we just enjoy the idea too? Even before we get into the wild fantasy of the Eagles getting Micah Parsons, can we just get into the idea that the Cowboys are just an absolute poop show again? It's too enjoyable, is what it is. It's number 1, predictable. 2, just enjoyable, utterly enjoyable. Just look at them, eat your popcorn, and know that they're just going to light themselves on fire. It's a beautiful thing. It's a great thing. Let's bask in that for a second. Shout out, ladies and gentlemen, to Dawn Staley and the South Carolina Gamecocks, who won the women's national championship yesterday in basketball. Seeing Dawn Staley break down on the court after the game when they're trying to interview her at ESPN, if that didn't get you in your feels, I don't know what did. And what an incredible class act. And the way she shouted out and acknowledged the contribution of Caitlin Clark, this season. And I don't know if it was because of the news of Tiger Woods playing in the Masters and all that. It got me thinking. Like, I don't watch women's basketball regularly. Caitlin Clark made me watch women's basketball. It was must-see TV. It was must-see sports, watching her play the way she plays. There's a little rivalry there with LSU that made huge news, of course. Dawn Staley, being the icon that she is here in Philadelphia and in the basketball world in general, I had to watch that game yesterday. And I'm watching that game, and I am just amazed at her game. But what got me thinking about her status in the game this year, and even going back a little bit last year, but more so this year with the most watched game ever, the last time I saw somebody elevate their sport to the level that Caitlin Clark did this past season was that of Tiger Woods in 97 when he won the Masters. I mean, golf was obviously and is a big thing, sure. But Tiger Woods took it to rock and roll status, man. Tiger Woods made golf in 97 one of the coolest things that you could watch, one of the coolest things you could do. Caitlin Clark made women's basketball this season. And everybody was talking about it. Everybody wanted to know about it. I would be at parties. Not that I go to a lot of parties, but I'd be at parties and be like, you see that Caitlin Clark game? I'm like, huh? What? Like, it was and will be for a while a great buzz. And Dawn Staley acknowledging and saying how much she appreciates Caitlin Clark for raising women's basketball the way she did this season, I thought was one of the classiest things she could have said. And I'm extremely excited and happy for Dawn Staley and everything she's accomplished in the sport of basketball. But my goodness gracious, it really was incredible what she had to say about Caitlin Clark in a losing effort for Caitlin Clark and Iowa. Absolutely incredible. So needed to take time to make sure I acknowledge that today. Tiger Woods in 97 elevating the game of golf is exactly what Caitlin Clark did this season for women's basketball. What a show it was, man. What a show. Let's get into the chat check and see how you wonderful people are doing on this fine Monday morning. Buddy Christ, what's going on? Sean Gillespie, what's going on? Sean Kilrain, what's happening? Twiz, what's popping? IBH, good morning, everyone. Good morning, A. How about Sixers double overtime win and Maxey scoring a new career high 50? How about that? How about that? Indeed. And Buddy Christ, Dallas still sucks. If Buddy Christ says it, then you know what you call that? You call it a decree from God, ladies and gentlemen. Same old Phillies so far. You know what? Let me just say this. Nick Castellanos. If you have the attitude of Nick Castellanos, and I'll say this, in a lot of things in life, I have a similar attitude. So I can identify with that with Nick Castellanos. Like, okay, well, it didn't work out now, it'll work out later. You know, that kind of thing? Like, why sulk? But when you're watching and living and dying almost with every pitch as a Philadelphia fan, and you know someone has that attitude, like, you want to know at some point it affects them. Like, I think Philly, we like to see people not panic uncontrollably, but panic to kind of get their you-know-what together. And Nick Castellanos is just not that guy. He's not that guy to be like, well, I'm struggling and I'm really upset about it. No, he's the type of guy that's like, I'm struggling and it'll be okay. Like, you don't want that guy. And if you guys watch Welcome to Wrexham on Hulu, the Ryan Reynolds, Rob McElhenney show, right? About the football club, the soccer club there. And is it Wales? I think it is. Ryan Reynolds compares himself and Rob McElhenney as far as if they walked by a burning building. And Ryan Reynolds would be like, if I walked by if we walked by a burning building, Rob would just run right in and just start trying to save people immediately. Ryan Reynolds, would be like, oh, okay then. There's a burning building. What should I do? These are the factors. And then he'll do something to help people, okay? And Ryan Reynolds in that moment says, in Rob's thing, people get saved. Rob probably dies, but people probably get saved. In my version, maybe a couple people die, but I know I live and I save a couple people as well. My thought was, that is the perfect example of what a Philadelphia fan is. Rob McElhenney, in this analogy that Ryan Reynolds makes, is so Philly in this analogy. It's hilarious. And I thought about it with Nick Castellanos. We don't want Nick Castellanos to be like assess the situation and calmly think it out. We want him to just full speed ahead. Let's see a solution. The guy's batting 133 on the season with a 278 on base percentage. Yesterday, he strikes out on a pitch that got it wasn't over the middle of the plate, but it was on the outer half of the plate, very close to the middle of the plate, and he took it looking fastball, essentially down the heart of the plate. Just poof. Oh, look at that. Strike 3. Alec Bohm struck out on a pitch that was at least a borderline ball, especially with yesterday's strike zone being all over the place. Can't mention that enough. And Nick Castellanos is again, strike 3. See you later. Just goes and sits down. I don't need home runs every bat. I mean, I'd like to have home runs every bat. But are we going to go through this again with Nick Castellanos? Another down year? I'd love to give the guy an opportunity. I mean, the hits really didn't keep coming for him until midway through April last year. He didn't hit a home run until the 22nd. So it's not like he set some insanely high bar early in the season. But, man, we are in the midst of I know it's 3 series, but 9 games. He looks like the guy that ended the season last year, and he looks like the guy that started the season 2 years ago. Not great. But, yeah, same old Phillies. Did I get you? Yeah. So double team win. Same old Phillies, says Sean. Yep. James Alexander, what's up, man? Plug me in. You're plugged. What's going on? Top of the morning. Plug me in. On my way to work, that was a good back and forth game. Everyone contributed. Okay, so Nicholas Batum for the Sixers didn't hit a shot until that shot in the fourth quarter. Ricky Council the fourth didn't play, I don't think, until the fourth quarter. KJ Martin got minutes here and there, and I really love what I'm seeing from KJ Martin, by the way. Like, the guy's just there to make a play. How do you not love that? Jeff Doughton didn't contribute much, but at least he played. He gave some guys rest, at least. WC13, Philadelphia Sixers, hell yeah. Sean Kilrain, if the Sixers win out, you need the Pacers to lose 2 of their last 3 games to get the 6th seed and avoid the play-in. Absolutely. James Alexander, I want the 6th seed. So do I. I would love the 6th seed. Give me the 6th seed. I need the Heat to lose 1 of their last 4 games. He'd have 4 games left? Let me just double check that, because I actually meant to check that earlier too. But I need the Heat to lose 1 of their last 4 games to get their 7th seed and have home court advantage in the play-in. Let me just punch that up real quick. Miami Heat, that's a basketball team in the Eastern Conference. Any minute now. Yeah, they do have 4. 2 against the Raptors. That's right. Okay. So they're at the Hawks tomorrow night. Mavericks at home, and they have back-to-back games against the Raptors at home. That's stupid. Well, they also have 4 games in the time that everybody else has 3. So they have a back-to-back. They go to Atlanta, then host the Mavericks, and then they host the Raptors in back-to-back games on the 12th and the 14th. So it's the Hawks tomorrow night, the Mavericks Wednesday night. Yeah. And then the back-to-back games there against the Raptors on the 12th and 14th. So, yeah, they have 1 more game. Thank you, Sean. April! Good morning, April. What's going on? WC Wemby is 7-4 and shooting 46% from the field. Come on, Pop. Get his ass in the paint. He's fun to watch. There were a couple of shots last night. Not even shots. It's not even that. Like, you just expect that from him. But his range to rebound, I think Allah was a little, and it's hard not to be. You're just dumbfounded watching him. Because there was a shot that he was under the basket, clanked off the rim. He reached into the first row to get the rebound, came back and got the putback. He's a lot of fun. He does remind me a lot of Kevin Durant. This kid, wow, Victor Wembanyama, only player in NBA history, 30 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 or more three-pointers, 5 blocks in the game. He is good at basketball. Good chance to steal that 6th seed. Damn right. Sean Kilrain, Crumble Cookie Harris had a great game. Can we all just acknowledge that this is, and Sean, I love it, but let's acknowledge that this is the end of Tobias Harris. Oh, my goodness gracious. Kelly Oubre's play has put a fork in Tobias Harris. William Stark, top of the morning, Farzy. Top of the morning to you, William. Buddy Christ, your head is looking smooth, really? I've missed a couple of days shaving. Daz, what up, brother? And special teams, special players? You figure that one out yet, Farzy? I have not. I've seen it around a bit. And I haven't made the connection as to what it is. I'm not, as some might say, down. I'm not down. Although I did finish building my floating shelf. So, no big deal, folks. No big deal. And Buddy Christ, you'll be happy to know that in addition to my weight bench being assembled, which it's been for quite some time, which is why I'm probably looking all yoked up. Yoked, whatever. Jacked, dieseled is what we used in my day. This was actually emotional for me. I got a punching bag when I was in 2nd grade for Christmas. It remains the greatest Christmas gift I ever got. And I grew up with it, obviously. And then when I moved out of mom and dad's, it just I brought it with me to Philly when I had my first, rented my first house with my college buddies. And it was just in the basement. I never hung it in the basement. But anyway, for the first time in over 20 years, I have hung that punching bag again. That heavy bag is now hanging in my basement in the house we moved in a year ago. I have hung it up. Finally. And I hung it up and I went, wow, hold on. How long has it been since I hung this bag? It's been over 20 years. And I'm like, you fat bastard. You haven't worked this heavy bag in 20 years. And it's hanging. It's hanging. It's ready to go. I started working out on it last night, which is why I'm probably looking so svelte. Anyway, if you think you're in shape, just punch a punching bag for a minute and see how you're doing. Just do that. Just punch a punching bag for like a minute and be like, it's a whole other workout. Makes you really feel for the hockey players that are fighting for like a straight minute and then at the end they're just dead. And they're professional athletes. Anyway, enough of that. Daz, I got a feeling Howie is going after Josh Allen. Little edge rusher magic. Howie is not going to make a move like he did with Reddick and look that bad without a plan. Yeah, I don't know. I think in Howie's mind, he's pretty set with the defensive end spot. I saw Sills talking about Big Sills, your boy Big Sills, talking about Patrick Surtain. Eagles kicking the tires. Just when the reports start to come out about James Bradbury, how great life is with James Bradbury is going to be great. All of a sudden, Patrick Surtain. Interesting. Ooh, Twiz, draft night trade again? Let's go. Buddy, I say let Joel sit. Not now. Wait, what? Why the hell did Dan have Mark Clowns on? I don't know. I didn't see that. Oh, Mackenzie Gore. Yeah, Daz, yesterday. Mackenzie Gore. Lively. Like, here's the thing that really sucks about a home plate umpire that's terrible. Alfonso Marquez behind the plate, just like inside corner was a strike, then it wasn't a strike. Outside corner was a strike, then it wasn't a strike. Letters was a strike, then it wasn't a strike. Knees was a strike, wasn't a strike. Like, you can't have consistency like that if you're a pitcher. Inconsistency like that for a strike zone if you're a pitcher. And what do you get when that happens? Well, yesterday's game is what you get. Every Sixers fan has PTSD concerning Embiid, and rightly so. Probably. What am I looking at here? Babs, what's up, Babs? As far as Schwarber isn't a very bright man. Here's the thing, he usually is. He usually is. That's one of the things that made it yesterday so annoying. My Fuji! Good morning, Fuji. What's popping? Let's see. I mean, when it comes to baseball, I understand, Babs. I got you. Hey, Alyssa saw Tyrese Maxey in the thumbnail and thought, he's talking Sixers. Let's go. Alyssa, what's going on? Hell of a game last night, Alyssa. God, please let Howie trade for Parsons draft night. It would be the funniest thing ever. Howie fleeces the Cowboys. That'd be nice. Let's go, Maxey and the Sixers. Hells yeah, Alyssa. April, Micah is tired of the team playing crap. And he is done with the Jerry's ish, excuse me. Can't say I blame him. Neither do I. Neither would I. Don't watch that. Never watch. Dad, see what I'm talking about? I never watched women's basketball. Turned it on yesterday, and she did nothing but throw up bricks in the second half. Well, you're the curse, Daz. You are the kryptonite of Caitlin Clark. Snow Carter. Sorry about that. Yeah. Dawn. What's going on? Go Dawn Staley. Hell yeah. Wait a minute. I didn't see that. Farzy, Dawn Staley said that Caitlin Clark needs a championship to validate her greatness. That doesn't seem like a compliment to her. Huh. I didn't hear that. I just heard the part about how she elevated, thank you for elevating the sport. I didn't see that about a championship. I'll have to go back and listen to the whole thing. Dad's 11th commandment. Dallas sucks. That's funny. Oh, wow. Yeah. Tarazi comments on Caitlin Clark. You look superhuman playing against some 18-year-olds, but you're going to come play with some grown women. Yeah, I didn't see the exact quote, Sean Kilrain. I saw somebody allude to it. And my gut feeling was that's how I remember. Like, I've been around like the pro athletes at drafts where they're all talking about, let's say, like, for instance, let's see how they get, like, football players. Let's see how they play when they get hit by a man and not a boy. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of guys have that. Do you need to say it at that time? No, probably not. So that's my thought on that, Sean, to answer your question. Yeah, every professional athlete at the draft. Oh man, I don't know if there's anything more full of themselves than a professional athlete on a draft night. Like, I think, and I don't mean that in a totally negative way, but it's like, let's see how they're doing. Get hit by a man, that kind of thing. Little G Griffin, what's going on? Fan of the linebackers from Georgia and Alabama. Yeah, make it happen. Daz, $100 million for a 133 batting average. Not great. Do the Sixers? I've seen this question a lot. No, they don't need to win out. Like, if the Pacers lose out and the Sixers win 2 of 3, then they're pretty much golden. Assuming that the Heat also don't win out. So, do the Sixers need to win out? As of right now, unknown, but it would certainly help. It would help their playoff odds. It would help them getting out of the play-in tournament, and it would help our sanity if they won out in these 3 very winnable games. Okay, Farzy, got to get back to work. There you go. Thank you, Twiz. Oh, I see your avatar is Jason Kelce. Good for you. That looks pretty great. Him taking the mask off and the. By the way, yeah, congratulations to all the WWE fans. Yeah, here's what I thought of yesterday. So yesterday was WrestleMania. Is it Mania? No, I'm kidding. WrestleMania, of course. Was it yesterday or Saturday? I don't even know. Anyway, Saturday, I think. Jason Kelce, Lane Johnson are in the ring. Cool. All right. But here's what got me thinking as those worlds collide in my head. If you're the NFL and you're worried about things being scripted, here's what I like to say about wrestling. Wrestling is real. Okay, wrestling is real, but the outcome is scripted. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means when a guy's being thrown to the mat, the guy's literally being thrown to the mat. And I referenced Mick Foley to you guys on Friday, my favorite wrestler of all time, right? In the brief period that I was into wrestling, it was Mick Foley that was my guy. But you mean to tell me he wasn't actually bleeding? He's bleeding. You mean to tell me he's not actually in pain? Oh, he's in pain. So the wrestling's real. The outcome is what's scripted. So watching that and then having that bleed into the NFL with Kelce and Lane Johnson being there, I was like, wow, maybe the NFL is scripted, but, the football's real. Kidding, of course. Kidding. Oh, thank you. WrestleMania on both days. Okay, The Rock and Kelce were on Saturday. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Babs. I appreciate that. That helps me clear that up. Thanks everybody in the chat. You guys are great as per usual. Morning Rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Sixers off today. Ooh, Flyers. So John Tortorella's message did not go over well, as the Flyers have not responded. Flyers now lost 7 straight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight. They're back at it tomorrow against the Habitants in Montreal. 7 o'clock puck drop tomorrow night. Same time the Sixers are going on. Phillies, they're back at it today. Mentioned earlier, 6:40 start time in St. Louis as they start up that 3-game series. Shout out to our man Ari Stein out there in St. Louis. 7:45 start time? What? Oh, that's bogus. That's right, because hour different. That's right. Thanks, everybody. You guys are fantastic. Spencer Turnbull gets the start for the Phils today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You guys are great, as per usual. Make sure you guys hit like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff on the Farzy Show YouTube channel, as well as Jacob Media YouTube channel as well. Oh, and don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, click over, take the time, go ahead and subscribe to the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel as well. Catch me post-game Sixers, catch me post-game Phillies as well. See you guys over there after tonight's Phillies game. See ya. Bye.